Star resigned from her job after her mother was diagnosed with brain cancer, determined to return home to take care of her. However, on her way home, she was hit by a truck while trying to save a boy in the middle of the road. When she woke up again, she found herself in the underworld. Through the Grim Reaper's crystal ball, she learned that she had died, and her mother in the real world was overwhelmed with grief. She begged the Grim Reaper for another chance at life. The Grim Reaper decided to make a bet with her. He would transform Star into 6 different animals, and if her mother could recognize her each time, she could be reborn. If not, she would be condemned to eternal damnation, never able to reincarnate. Star was first turned into a dog. She quickly recognized the way home and successfully found her mother. However, her mother was terrified by the dog's fierce appearance and hurriedly drove it away. Feeling disheartened, Star soon came up with a solution. She scratched a star on the wall with her paw to remind her mother that she was Star. Before her mother could notice, her second aunt arrived. Her true intention wasn't to find Star but to seize the house and evict Star's lonely mother. Enraged, Star charged into the house, barking furiously, scaring them onto the sofa before they fled in panic. Grateful, her mother poured the dog a glass of water and asked if it wanted to stay. Star excitedly reached out her paw, happily thinking that as long as she stayed with her mother, she would eventually recognize her. However, her second aunt set her sights on Star, sending someone to capture her in a sack overnight and lock her in a cage. Star quickly realized that it was her aunt who had orchestrated this. In a moment of desperation, she came up with a plan, pretending to feign to trick them into opening the cage. As her aunt leaned in, Star suddenly bit her and swiftly escaped, not forgetting to snatch her aunt's phone. Facing the vicious dog traders, Star cleverly hid in a corner and tried calling her mother. However, she forgot that she couldn't speak in her current form. She could only let out a few aggrieved whimpers and used her paw to send her location. Her mother quickly realized that the dog had been taken by her second aunt and rushed to the location. However, Star's cries gave away her hiding spot, and she was soon recaptured and locked back into the cage. While leaving the house, her mother unintentionally noticed the star mark that Star had scratched by the door. She suddenly recalled that her daughter had a similar birthmark on her neck and began to suspect that Star might somehow be connected to her daughter. Just as Star's life was hanging by a thread, her mother climbed in through the window and successfully rescued her. However, carrying the injured dog, her mother couldn't run far and was soon caught by the dog traders. Furious, the traders began beating Star with sticks. To protect her, Star's mother shielded her with her own body, refusing to let go despite being struck to the ground. She kept calling out her daughter's name, Star. Seeing her mother on the verge of being beaten to death, Star quickly ran off. The dog traders mocked her mother, laughing that her dog wasn't loyal. But in the next moment, Star returned, having freed all the other dogs from their cages. She led them in a fierce attack against the dog traders. Yet, in the end, Star sacrificed her life to protect her mother. This time, the Grim Reaper turned Star into a butterfly. She flew to the hospital where her mother was staying, only to find her second aunt, along with her grandparents, bullying her mother. They were forcing her to hand over the house and even physically assaulted her. Furious, Star charged at them, trying to drive them away with her wings. However, her second aunt angrily slapped her to death. But her mother noticed the star-shaped mark on the butterfly's wings and excitedly exclaimed that Star had returned. Yet everyone else simply thought she had lost her mind. The Grim Reaper felt sorry for Star's repeated deaths and decided to lower the difficulty. This time, he turned her into a parrot. However, the malicious second aunt immediately took a liking to the parrot and brought it home. She planned to pretend to train the parrot to mimic speech and use it to deceive Star's mother. By coincidence, the parrot was indeed Star. Her mother instantly recognized the star-shaped mark on the parrot and eagerly took it in. Star called out, "Mom," and her mother realized that Star had returned, overjoyed by the discovery. However, shortly after, a fortune teller approached them. He revealed that Star's soul was attached to the parrot, shocking both Star and her mother because his words were true. But then, he claimed that Star would never be able to reincarnate as a human unless her mother gave up all her wealth, including the house. For Star's sake, her mother decided to give away the house, unaware that this was all part of her second aunt's scheme. Anxious, Star tried to warn her mother that it was a scam. Just as her mother was about to sign the house transfer contract, Star burst out of the birdcage and viciously pecked out the fortune teller's eyes. His screams quickly drew the second aunt into the room. Realizing the truth, Star's mother was furious and drove everyone out of the house. However, Star lost her life once again because of this. The Grim Reaper then turned Star into a turtle. Trapped in a tank, she desperately tried to crawl toward her mother, but was bought by another man. Upon seeing the star-shaped mark on the turtle's shell, Star's mother excitedly begged the man to give her the turtle, believing it was her daughter. Onlookers cast strange glances, thinking she had lost her mind. The kind-hearted man willingly gave the turtle to her. Her mother was overjoyed, believing that since turtles have long lifespans, her daughter could stay by her side forever. However, Star felt deeply sorry because she needed to reincarnate soon to return to her mother as a human. The next morning, her mother woke up to find the turtle dead, plunging her into overwhelming grief. This time, Star was transformed into a sea lion at an aquarium. Her outstanding performances gained widespread attention as influencers shared videos of her on social media. Star's grieving mother saw the videos and was so excited that she rushed to the aquarium, calling out Star's name. Seeing her mother, Star was overwhelmed with joy and leaped toward her. However, the shock caused her mother to faint. Star hesitated and asked the Grim Reaper if she was being too cruel to her mother, knowing that each time her mother recognized her, she would have to endure the pain of losing her again. But the Grim Reaper told her, rebirth comes at a price. Filled with emotion, her mother waved excitedly at Star, and Star joyfully responded by leaping out of the water again and again. Soon, the news of the sea lion's death devastated her mother again, landing her in the hospital. For the final attempt, the Grim Reaper turned Star into an elderly woman, warning her not to reveal her identity. Her mother, now with dementia, had forgotten Star's death and lovingly spoke of her daughter. Star felt deep guilt for neglecting her mother in the past. They shared a hospital room. Star, frail, hurt her back, and her mother gently massaged her, just like she did when Star was young. Star was ashamed that she couldn't repay her mother and instead needed care. As they talked, her mother noticed their resemblance and became dazed. To distract her, Star held back tears and combed her mother's hair. Her aunt sneaked into the hospital to steal the house deed, but was caught. In anger, she revealed Star's death, shocking her mother. Star tried to stop her, but was pushed down, bleeding heavily, leaving her with only 3 days to live. The Grim Reaper warned that if she didn't reveal herself soon, she would be trapped in hell forever. But Star accepted it, wanting only to spend her last days with her mother. Weak, Star asked her mother to talk about her daughter, loving to hear her mother praise her. Star tearfully told her mother she was the best. Her mother sang a lullaby, gently touching Star's face as she passed. Star thought she had lost the bet, but the Grim Reaper revealed that her mother had recognized her all along. She had often imagined what her daughter would look like when old, so she knew from the start. She only pretended not to recognize her to have more time with her. Finally, the Grim Reaper tapped Star's head with his staff. She returned to the moment before the accident, and the truck stopped in time. Star was reborn. She ran into her mother's arms, and they embraced warmly. While our parents are still here, don't wander far. Spend more time with them.